It's quite a good one today. It's about objection handling. So yesterday, I talked about some of the strategies and confidence in entrepreneurship and about some of the ways that can lead to entrepreneurship, how to turn negative situations into revenue or income or into personal development. I talked about your personal brand being the kind of real driver behind your entrepreneurship and your business. So today I'm going to capitalise on that because I did have a few people come back to me and say that they got quite a lot of value from yesterday. So I thought, okay, and I offered out a sales funnel course if anyone was interested in kind of learning some of the strategies for sales. So I offered that out, and a lot of people came back to me and they said that one of the biggest problems or one of the biggest hurdles or difficulties that they find with entrepreneurship, selling, and not being like doing it all themselves was how to handle objections. So I'm just going to talk through some of the tools that I've done, that I've used over the years. So this one's titled Handling Objections Like a Boss, Turning Your No's into Yeses. How do we do that? So just to give you a bit of background, I have been probably a sales manager, sales director, business development manager for the best part of 20 plus years. I don't want to show my age, but for a long time in a variety of different sectors. So whether that's in property, more recently it was for a medical device AI, SaaS technologies, prop tech, and I've trained quite a lot of people along the way in terms of their sales strategies. A lot of the people who I've trained along the way are now sales managers, directors in their own right, and even entrepreneurs. So yeah, one of the things that came out of yesterday's live was that people really struggle with handling objections. So I just wanted to kind of go on from that and give you some of the tools as to how you can handle objections, whether that's in your entrepreneurship journey, whether that is in your corporate life. So if you're in a position where you're constantly coming against objections within the workplace, how do you confidently handle those? So welcome. So yeah, we're talking about business, relationships, everyday life. How do you handle objections, pushback, rejections? But you know what? The most successful people that I've ever come across don't take no as an answer. And I'm not saying be really kind of, I'm not going to take no for an answer, like really, really pushy and stuff like that. What they tend to do is just pivot, reframe and persist until they get a yes. So there's ways that you can do that. So for me, the most important thing when dealing with objections is to always ask, even from the beginning, if you're trying to sell something, always ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions is the most powerful sales tool that you can use because it allows you to, okay, let's go back a bit. What is an open-ended question? Put a Y in the chat if you know what an open-ended question is. Put an N in the chat if you don't. But I thought it's best to kind of just really work it from the ground up. So open-ended questions are questions that can't be answered with just a simple yes or no, because especially in the sales cycle, if you're asking questions, the conversation can quickly shut down with a yes because it doesn't allow for the other person to kind of elaborate on why they've said no or why they've said yes. So open-ended questions are the most important thing that you can do when entering into negotiations or handling objections. Why? It forces the other person to think instead of shutting down completely. It gives you valuable insight valuable insight into what is holding them back. What is holding them back from that yes? And it puts you in complete control of the conversation. Puts you in complete of the control of the conversation, and the other person actually feels heard. So when you're trying to sell to people, and I always say, I am probably the worst person to sell to. I am probably the worst person to sell to because a lot of the time the person on the other end hasn't understood what my need is, so they're just trying to sell to me. I've got this brilliant thing, you need it, I've got this brilliant thing, and actually they haven't ascertained or done some research as to why I might need it, what my problems are, what my budget is even, or how I'm handling the situation at that present time. Is there a way that they can help me to handle that situation better? So one of the first things with handling objections is to always ask open-ended questions. So some of the most powerful ones are, especially when you're entering into the latter stages of negotiations, what is stopping you from XYZ? How could this help you in your business? How could this help your team? Tell me about what it is that you're looking for. And I like that. I always say, tell me about, because it allows somebody to kind of feel, people like to feel important. People like to talk about what they're passionate about or what their problem is. So tell me about that. Tell me how you're doing that now. Or what has been your experience with XYZ? What would make you feel more comfortable about this decision? So these are, hi Collie Buds, hi guys, sorry, I should be shouting you out and saying hi. I really appreciate you guys being on here, but I'm not an expert at TikTok. I'm just coming in and dropping some nuggets, and if you find value, please tap on the screen, please like, please send me stuff, because I'm still learning how to kind of really build this up. So just to recap, we're talking about handling objections. So whether that's in your corporate life, personal life, and I was talking about asking open-ended questions all the time. One of the ones that I absolutely like when I can be quite hardcore sales. So, and I've been kind of closing bigger contracts, or if I'm speaking to a client and I haven't qualified them properly, one of the questions I like to ask, if money or time wasn't an issue, is this something that you would want? The reason why I ask that question, because actually they want it, but they may not have the budget, they may not have the time. So therefore I've uncovered what their possible objection later on down the line would be. What is your biggest concern about moving forward? What is your biggest concern about saying yes? And I like to do this kind of sometimes a little bit with a bit of cheek. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is stopping you? So yeah, looking at kind of real ways to handle objections. So if we take that back just a little bit before we get there, because I wanted to kind of explain how we use the open-ended questions more so than anything. But before you get to that point, you can actually set up your conversation and set up your client so that when you get to the objection handling stage, you've already pre-qualified. So what I mean by that, it's almost like you've tested the objections. I tend to explicitly use the feel, felt, found method. I don't know if anyone's heard that, which is great for both personal and business life. So one of the common objections is it's too expensive. It's out of my budget. I just can't do it right now. Okay, so how I would respond to that was, I completely understand how you feel. There's a feel. I felt the same way, like when I was dealing with, give an example, and I'll put it all together for you. But what I found is that by investing in this, I saved myself so much time, stress, or my team could work on something else that was more valuable to the business. So for example, if I was trying to sell a SaaS package or a technology of some sort to a business owner, and they say, look, we just don't have the capacity to take this on right now. Our team is too busy. We haven't got time to implement this. Okay, fine. I understand how you feel. And you don't even have to relate it to yourself. You could just be as open as so many of my other clients have felt the same way. Before they've taken this on. But what they found is that by taking this on, it's actually freed their team up, their time up so much more, because you've now understood that time is a problem as well as budget, because he said the team doesn't have time to take this on, right? So yeah, let me know if that is valuable. Open-ended questions, a straight one, even like more so in your entrepreneurial journey, especially if you're just new to sales and you're just practicing, you're just starting out, is I'm not interested. And like I said on yesterday's live, so if you haven't seen yesterday's live, jump back on that, because there were some real gems on that. But you could have somebody say, I'm just completely not interested. And one of the best sales tools is to empathize. I totally get that. I totally understand. But just out of curiosity, What is it that's stopping you? What is it that's stopping you? Is it the timing? You can actually offer nuggets. Is it the timing? Is it the product? Is it something else? And by using the open-ended question, the what, it allows for them to fill the gap essentially, and keeps the conversation going. Don't get me wrong, there's been sales scenarios where I've had people put the phone down on me, and more advanced salesperson like myself, I would call them back straight away. I would call them back straight away and say, oh my God, I think we got cut off. So not even in a rude way, and I wouldn't take it as a negative. I wouldn't take it as an objection. And when I've done that before, it's actually been quite funny. I've had some people say, no, actually, I did put the phone down on you, and some people go, you've got balls of steel kind of thing. So, yeah, another objection, a common objection is, I don't think we need this right now, which for me is a bit of a buy-in signal. So I don't need this right now. Top up the screen. People knowledge is power. Yeah, that's right. And if somebody says, I don't think I need this right now, brilliant, I respect that completely. But if it's not right for you today, when would be a better time to revisit this? When would be a better time for me to follow up with you? Again, it's an open-ended question. It's not saying, can I call you in 3 months' time to talk about this? Because they could just say no. It's not interesting to me. But if you say when is a good time, they're more likely to say, give me a shout in 3 months, give me a shout in 6 months, and the power is in the follow-up. Okay, so if they say that, then give yourself, put it in the diary. So I tend to be a bit cheeky when they say, oh, give me a call in 3 months. I would say, okay, brilliant, just looking at my diary now, I've got a space on the 15th of June at 2 o'clock. Can I pop you in then? Let's just pencil it in and I'll give you a shout then. I'll follow up just before, just to make sure that that's still okay for you. Chances are they're going to say yes, because ideally they want to get you off the phone, because right now is not the right time for them, right? So that's another one. Somebody says, I can get this somewhere cheaper. Totally fair, but that's an opportunity for you to sell in your unique selling proposition against your competitors. So what makes you different to your competitors? And another one that I like to use actually, and I really I love this one. If somebody actually indicates that they are interested in your product or in your service, but actually they don't want to pay the full price. This is a massive one. So you've got a course for, let's say, you've got a course for £500, and somebody says, look, I do see the value in this, but actually our budget is only £300. I would never say negotiate. A lot of people would quickly, I am from West London, a lot of people would quickly say, okay, right, let's get the deal done. Don't undermine your value. So in that scenario, I would say, brilliant, I'm glad that you found so much value in this product or service. I'm glad that this could be real benefit to you. And I actually didn't go over the features, advantage, benefit stuff, so I'll kind of go back over that. But what I tend to do in that situation is say, I'm really glad that this is a benefit to you and that you can see value in it. And I understand that your budget is a bit tighter. What parts of the service would you like me to leave out? What parts of the service would you like are not going to be valuable for you? So that way it's almost like you're taking away the full value of the service. So that's once they've kind of agreed that it is of benefit to them, because in that scenario, they tend to find the extra money. So that's another one. When you're entering into deep negotiation, so this is probably a little bit more advanced sales, and you're kind of going back and forth and negotiating on price and stuff like that. Somebody on the other phone is saying, oh, I don't know about this. Oh, I really like this, but I don't know about this. Then one of the best things that you can do is just use the power of silence. Power of silence. Learn to pause, because when you're entering into deep negotiations with somebody, It's hi Al, how are you? Thanks for joining. When you're entering into like deep negotiations with somebody, give me some likes on the screen, guys. I've committed to like 14 days of lives. I'm really out of my comfort zone. So tap the screen and give me some likes. I'd really appreciate that, and it would really help to spread it across, spread the engagement. Yeah, so as I was saying, if you're in deep negotiations and you recognise me from West London. Yeah, if you're in deep negotiations and somebody's saying, sometimes they're on the other end of the phone, I don't know, and they want to say yes, or they say, I don't know. Stay silent. I swear it is so hard to do, because you want to kind of really want to kind of push it, and you really want to kind of close the sale, but the best thing you can do is stay silent, because people don't like uncomfortable silences. People hate awkward silences, and it makes them rethink their own hesitation, and I've done that quite a lot, and this is probably learnt from a recruitment background, when we were closing kind of big deals. Thanks for the likes, guys. Objections in personal life. This is quite interesting. So when you're handling kind of objections, whether that's in friendships or relationships, and you just feel like you're not getting anywhere, one of the tools that I use is, I don't think we should talk about this right now. I understand that this is important to you, this is important to me, but when would be a good time for us to discuss this? It sets a boundary, and it keeps everyone in their respectful lanes when negotiating. At work, if you handling objections, I don't think you have enough experience for this project, or I don't think you're qualified, or I don't think you're ready for an advancement or for a promotion, for example. Again, it's coming back to the feel, felt, found. I understand how you feel. I understand, but I understand that experience is important within this role or within this promotion. But what would it take for me to prove that I'm ready? How can I prove that I'm ready? And let them give you the answers. Let them give you the answers to either be able to talk about. So actually, I need somebody that's got a bit more experience with XYZ. You can then pull on, and if you look at any of my previous lives, and I say about keeping a record of your achievements, bigging yourself up, so that you've actually got a whole kind of backlog and catalogue of your achievements. So it challenges the assumption, in that scenario, it challenges the assumption that they don't think you're worthy, or they don't think you're good enough, right? Networking. I'm such a big person on networking, especially in your entrepreneurship journey or your business startup. Yes, that's it. The corporate doctor, a brag file. It's so important to have a brag file. Big up yourself. Like you... And I keep saying this, like, everyone is a badass in their own right, and you need to channel that energy and understand whether it's, you walk in your purpose. Do you know what I mean? So definitely create a brag file. Networking. I don't have time to connect right now is a big one. I don't have time to connect right now. Do you know, I totally get it. Can I follow up with you in a week? And even if it's just quick, can I follow up with you in a week? And it gives it the opportunity to kind of go back. Brilliant. It was great seeing you at that networking event last week. I know you were so busy, and we'd arranged to speak this week. They even question if they've arranged it. They haven't really arranged anything. I need to finish H&D business and management degree. Do you know, a degree, big up yourself, because a degree is so hard. I did 2 degrees, so big up yourself for that. Get it done. You'll feel absolutely amazing once you've done it. So well done to you. Congratulations. So in any kind of scenario, what I'd say is write down your common objections. What are the most common objections, especially as a small business owner? What is it that keeps coming up in the conversations that you're having? I did talk about kind of sales and starting your sales yesterday. So this is why it's kind of part 2 and a bit further ahead than yesterday's live. So if you haven't caught up with that, do catch up on that. And I also have a sales funnel course to help anyone to really start launching their business. And I actually had a few people reach out to me and said they really like possible one-to-one support from me. So I will look at that, and I will kind of maybe do maybe a 15-minute chat just to look over what it is that you might be able to do, some ideas, and then maybe build on some packages which might be good. So first thing, write down your common objections. Write down your common objections, whether it's in relationship, business, life, anything, and practice your responses. Practice your feel, felt, found. Practice your strategies to turn them into yes. And even when you're speaking to your initial clients, it doesn't matter if they say no. They don't have it there, and they haven't paid for it yet. So the first no is not gonna harm. And I say, listen, if you was making 10 conversations, the first 1, 2, 3, or 10 telephone calls, the first 1, 2, 3 might be difficult. By the 10th, the 15th, and the 20th, you'll find that it's flowing and you're kind of more comfortable with it. I always like to give a voice note challenge. Practice. Send yourself a voice note. Record yourself practicing your confident responses. Play it back. Adjust your tone as you need to. How are you going to handle these objections? How are you going to be able to turn this? I don't have the budget for this. It's not something that I'm looking at buying right now. What is going to be your response in your value proposition? That's definitely one of them. Take action. Reach out to one person who's rejected you in the past and try again. Just try again. A no doesn't have to be final. If you haven't in the beginning uncovered their objections or their whys using your open-ended questions, go back and do it. Go back and have that conversation to somebody that previously said no to you in a business capacity or a sales capacity. It could even be a job. So that's one thing that I'd say do. Don't just close the door on the first no. So that is it. So what I'm going to do, I've got my sales funnel course that I've put out. It's actually going to be £97, but I put it for £15 from yesterday, and I said that I was going to do that for 24 hours. I'll actually extend it for another 24 hours only because I posted it up late, so sorry about that. There's a sales funnel course. It's in my link tree for £15, which is a full sales funnels course, and that could be, and obviously that could be for anyone who's thinking of starting a business. It could be something that's used later or used right now, tools to use right now. I will be offering one-to-one business strategy sessions for entrepreneurs who need things with helping to define their business plans, idea execution, turning their dreams into action, networking events. So even if you want me to attend a networking event on behalf of your, the link is in my bio, on behalf of your business. So I can come to a networking event with you and I can show you some of the tips and tools, can't get the words out, to help you kind of network and really kind of make an impact and come away with real value. And a sales kickstart training. So, right, you've got this brilliant business idea, you've put it all together, but how do you actually get it out there? How do you get yourself to an income? How do you get your business to start generating income for you as soon as possible? So those are some of the things that I'm looking at, and I'll definitely just DM me, coach, or grab the sales funnel course, and all the links will be in my bio. But I'll drop one last nugget, just because I think this is an absolute amazing one. And it was one that I have said a couple of times throughout the lives that I've done, and everyone's always said that they find this one tip is really, really valuable to them. So if I can spread it to as many people, then great, I'd be happy with that, because, sharing the wealth, sharing the love. So in a networking environment, if you're ever in a situation where you're in a networking environment, there's so much value to be had in that room. There's so many people that you want to speak to. There's so many connections that you want to make. The best way to do that, and this was from an example of, I went to a networking event a few months back, and the room was just full of phenomenal people that I just wanted to speak to absolutely everyone. And they only had really short breakout sessions to be able to do that. So my biggest tip for that type of environment is to, they had a panel session where they had speakers, and they said, does anyone have a question to ask? My hand shot up straight away, and I'd say just don't be scared, just shoot your hand up. it doesn't matter if you don't have a question prepared. Like, I always have a question prepared for the environment that I'm going in, and the format would be introduce yourself, introduce what you do. So, hi, thank you so much for giving me the time to speak. My name's Tanya. I have a company called Busty Boob Tape, which is revolutionising wardrobes for bustier women. My question is, so always think and prepare that in advance, right? So that whenever you're in that situation where you've got that opportunity, you can quickly tap into what you've already known off your head. If you don't have a prepared question, one of the best questions that you could ask would be, I'd really like to know what books the panel are reading to help motivate themselves. Bam. They love that. And they'll talk about it, because what that then allows is everyone who was in that room knows who you are, knows what you do. They don't care about the question, but what I found is that everyone in that room then was coming to me in the breakout session. So literally it was like 5-minute session. I had 3 people coming. All right, cool, exchange numbers. 10 people coming. So that's one of the real golden nuggets that I would say absolutely implement immediately and religiously. Thank you so much. Like I say, all the links are going to be in my bio. DM me if there is any other value that I can add or I can help you with. Thank you so much. This is day 10, I think day 11 of my 14-day live. So I'm going to do another 3 days. I feel like I'm getting better. So yeah, drop some taps, drop some likes. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to post it up on the replay. So it's all going to be on a replay for everyone to see with all the links. But thank you so much, guys.